Okay, good morning. This is Brooke, and hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday, is it not? So hey, thanks for the it actually could be yacht music, but actually today I am doing 80s soft rock essentials. So yeah, which has a lot of yacht music in it. So you are correct. We are here to learn a little bit about Quizizz and also to get Kahoot Basics certified. So a quick overview of what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go over the basics of Quizizz. I'm going to assume a lot of y'all know Quizizz and Kahoot for that matter. But if you don't, I'm going to give a quick overview of Quizizz. And then I am going to go over into Kahoot. But basically for the Kahoot, I'm going to show you what you need to do, the steps you need to do to get their certifications. And it's bronze, silver, and gold. So once you get those, you will upload the certificate. And actually, now that I've realized how the workflow for it, there's only going to be a gold certificate you're going to need to upload, because you have to get the bronze and you have to get the silver before you get to the gold. So, and I'll go over that again too. And then I'll set you free. And then anybody that wants to stay with me and go over Quizizz in more detail or whatnot, I'm happy to stay with you. But everybody else can leave at that time, and then go through the certification process. And then you'll have a Google form to fill out. And once you fill out that form, I'll be checking it maybe once, twice a week, something like that. I'm setting it up on a schedule with all the forms I've got now going for the summer. And then once you've uploaded that documentation, I'll go into Strive and grant you credit for the course. So yeah, that's the basics of it. If you have any have any questions, you can either put them into the chat, or you can put them, just unmute yourself. I went ahead and I think I muted everybody. And then you can unmute yourself and shout out a question at any time. So the first thing I want to talk about here is, can you see my screen? Anybody?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Because yeah, there's been a couple times that I and others have been thinking we're sharing screens, and there's no sharing a screen going on. So so here we are. Google recently changed their interface with their sharing button. So on the top right, if I click on share, you'll notice down here it says get link, and it says restricted, only people added can open with this link. So if I copied this link and gave it to y'all in the chat, you would not be able to open it, even though you're in my domain with Maynard. So what I have to do is I have to change the link. I have to press this now, and that's by default. And it's a security feature. So now anybody at Maynard Independent School District can view it. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to come to the chat, and I'm going to bounce it into the chat. And since we're all going to be using Zoom at some point, if we go back to school and we have some type of fusion blended model, or we go back to totally virtual at some point, if there's another wave of the pandemic or whatnot, one thing to note with Zoom is that whenever you share something in the chat, let's say that someone comes in after this, after I posted that link into the chat, they're not going to see that link. They're not going to see any of the thread above that. So that's why it's a good habit to share throughout a presentation. So yeah. All right, so everybody can click on that link. You will need to be logged into your Maynard ISD account in order to access it. All right. One other thing, just a little housekeeping here, and since we're doing the Googly, using the Google anyway, if you want to add this to your drive, if you go up here to the top middle, you'll see a little drive button there. It's not on mine because this is in my drive. I created it, but you could press on that little plus button and it would add this to your drive. You can also go over to File and say make a copy, which will make the entire presentation yours and everything in it, but then any changes that I do after this won't be in it. So you can, I'd use that all the time when I'm trying to, learn new things or want to go back and look at someone's presentation later or whatnot. So that's something to think about doing. And then also here, you'll have a choice. I don't have it again because it's in my drive, but you can also add this presentation to the drive by clicking on add to my drive underneath file. All right. I always recommend using the Google to log into things. So if you are today with Kahoot and with Quizizz, they offer Google login, single sign-on. I always recommend doing that. The next thing, this is a big one. A lot of people, you're seeing my screen out right now, but you're like, you know what? I need to do something. I need to go check my email. I actually want to follow along and do this at the same time he is to make sure I get it. So you're seeing my face or my screen and you can't see anything else. Well, I put this little screenshot on here and let me make it a little bit bigger. And if you'll notice up here, you see, if you go up to the top of your screen, if you're in full screen right now, if you go up to the top, which we call the Finder bar, it will appear and you'll see what program you're currently in. And you can see, you should have on your Zoom, when you're in Zoom, you'll see view options and you can actually go down and say exit full screen. So if you're not able to get to where you want to go, that's a good way to kind of navigate your screen. So within the Zoom, and that's something also to teach our students within when you're with them also. So yeah, let's see here. Any questions about navigating the Zoom or getting back and forth? Another trick you can use is, let me get out of full screen, is you can actually go down to what's called your dock if you're on a MacBook, and you'll see the different icons. And if I want to bounce over to, let's say I had, well, I'm in Zoom, so if I press on Zoom, it'll go into Zoom. If I happen to have multiple Chrome windows open, and if you've been in one of my PDs before and I taught you how to go into a personal account. So let's say I'm up here, I'm in Chrome, and I click on People, and I go over to my son's account, and I want to bounce between his account and my account. All I have to do is go down to the bar and press on Chrome, and it's going to bounce me between. Well, it didn't really do a good job of it, but you kind of get the idea of what's going on. So let's see here, leave site. All right. So those are the two things, or big things. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we get into actually Quizizz and Kahoot is updating Zoom and Chrome. So we should, in a perfect world, you should, whenever you restart your computer, it should be checking and seeing if Chrome is up to date. And if it's not, it's automatically going to download the update. That's what a perfect world. But let's say you haven't restarted your computer in a while. You can't remember the last time you restarted your computer. I always recommend first thing, whenever you're having issues, restart your computer. And you should be doing it ideally at least twice a week. So that'll usually clear out a lot of the cobwebs and whatnot. So on this, I'm not actually going to play this video, but on this is a YouTube video that we made that walks you through how to update Chrome using self-service on your MacBooks. But the nice thing about this is you can also update Zoom. So I'm real quickly going to go through this. So all I do is click on Launchpad. I'm going to go into, this is where all the programs are on my computer. I'm going to find self-service. I'm going to click on it. And this is being recorded, by the way. So I'll post this recording and send you a link to it later on through the Eduphoria email. So now it's alphabetical. So if I just click on either of these reinstalls for Google Chrome, that will reinstall it. And then if I go all the way down to the bottom, there's the Zoom update. And so I just click reinstall, even if it says that, and then it'll execute and install and do all that kind of stuff. Now, if you happen to get an error message when you're on self-service right here, I strongly recommend you go ahead and restart your computer, because a lot of times that will fix things. So we are working on making it possible for you to download all these applications from your house or from outside our network. But currently, the Zoom auto update and the Chrome update are the only things that you can do from outside the school network. So that's something to take note of. Any questions on self-service, updating, Zoom controls, or anything like that? All right, well, I'm going to keep pushing forward then. Quizizz. Most of my pictures are going to be links. So if I'm on slide 5 for you guys, you click on Quizizz. Underneath it, you can click Find a Quiz. And here I am. I'm going to go ahead and log out so you see original. If you do not have an account, then I strongly again recommend clicking on Sign Up. And then you sign in with the Google and so on and so forth. They'll ask you a couple questions and so on and so forth. So, but I've already got an account, so I'm going to click Log In. And actually, I have an account from when I was in the classroom before I was all googly. And so I'll just go ahead and use that. And then the interface has really not changed that much. It's pretty straightforward for you. You look over here on the left side, you're going to see it's a freemium product, so they'll try to get you to eventually buy it, for the school and whatnot like that. But it's a really strong formative assessment. You can do in synchronous and asynchronous. And one of the things I really like about it is that when I search for a quiz, and let's say I'm going to do a PD next week on Google Classroom. So I want to go in here and see, okay, I'm just going to search for Google Classroom today. I'm going to search in this text bar. And then, bam, I start seeing a bunch of different quizzes here. And you'll notice that when I cover over one, over to the right here, it shows me how many questions. I can go ahead and play it just to test it out. Or if I like it, then I can make it my own. And let me move my little control bar out of the way here because it's messing me up. All right. So then if I like it, I can actually click on it and dive deeper into it. But before we do that, what I want to point out up here is filter by, and then you can go into grade levels. And then you can also go into subjects and then more. So we're going to, it looks like they do have the option to change the language here. So that's kind of nice. So let's find Spanish. A, B, C, D, and wow, okay. And I did not see Spanish. Should I pass by? There it is. I don't know, Castilla? Okay, well, that's disappointing. So anyway, that's where you can filter it by. I'm going to go ahead and stick with, let's get rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and just choose this one right here because I see professional development. And then it was created 2 years ago, so it's fairly recent. That might be something, especially if you're doing a new product or for me at least, I would want to do something newer because Google Classroom changes all the time. And so, yeah, it kind of messes me up there. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one right here. So I'm going to click on it. And now you'll notice I see all the questions. And please stop me if I'm going too quick or anything like that. If I want to use this quiz, then I can go ahead and assign it right now directly and start making my choices how I want to do that. It will connect. You'll notice here I have no classes in here now, but I can connect this to my Google Classroom. And so I just follow along with their prompts, and I'm choosing my account now. And again, this is being recorded, so you can go back in here and watch the first part if you need to, or you can reach back out to me. And so let's see here. No, I don't want to create a class. I want to use my Google. We just put some feeders back in here, and we've been okay. Here we go. So we're importing my classrooms here. I can actually just choose which ones to do, and I'll just I'll choose an old one, and then I'll save it. So that's great. A lot of us are using Google Classroom, so that would be a nice to be able to do that. So it looks like it bounced me out of that quiz. So I'm going to go back and find it because I have not added it to my library over here, my Quizizz, I should say. So I'm going to go ahead and press edit. And what that does is makes a duplicate of it. And then I'm going to have to go through here and I can reorder the questions. I can actually edit the questions if I want to change something, if I see something wrong with it. If I want to change the time allotted that the kids have to answer the questions, I can do that. So those are all pretty straightforward. I can also add my own new question. So you could actually create a question from scratch just by pressing new question, and then you choose what type of question you want to do. And then once you do that, let's say I choose multiple choice, you can actually put some media in there. So I can put an image. So if you want to go save something to your desktop, or if you want to go find something, you can paste in the link there, and then it will put it in there for you, and then you can put in the answer choices, and then you're going to want to choose which answer or answers are correct. For the math teachers out there, you notice that they do have the ability to put equations in there, so that's kind of a cool feature. And then when you're done, don't forget to do the time, because they've actually increased this amount. They used to not have the minutes up here. So if it's a really long question, you can actually increase it to however long you want to, or up to a certain amount of minutes. And then you would press save. So I'm going to press cancel because I'm not actually going to add that. Now, one really neat feature of Quizizz, and this is one of the reasons that I've included it in my repertoire of formative assessments, even though we have, such a powerful powerful tool in the district called Nearpod, which we have PDs on every Wednesday. So please take a look at Nearpod. If you're don't have an account, sign up with Google, and then you can email either Jacob Levino or myself, and we will get you squared away. My son is needing time on Minecraft, and I limit his time, so he's coming over to get that. So anyway, one of these neat features I was talking about is the teleport button. So I'm going to press teleport, and then, you know what? I think I need to add some more questions to this, and I want to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go back to my original search, and I could change that if I wanted to. And now I'm going to click on another quiz, and then I'm going to see if there's a question that I want to add. And then I click the add button, and voila, it's added to my new quiz. As simple as that. So that is one of the really neat features of Quizizz. So then when I'm done, I got a question. I want to sign up for, okay, I'm not sure about that. We can address that at the end, bud, for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and press done, and then it's going to ask me to name it, and then I'm just going to title this Brooks Google Classroom, and then I select the relevant classes. It forces you to do this. Oh, and then you press save. And now this is going to be over here in my quizzes, so I can find it again. Now, you can play it live. So you could have a class going, say a Zoom class, just like we're doing, and then press play live. And then you would choose all the choices here. Quite a few. There's music. They have some really funny memes, whether you get the question right or wrong, that kind of thing. If the kids were together, then, in class, normal class, then you would want to possibly shuffle the questions and the answer options like that. You can still do that this way also if you want to, or with this type of a classroom. Now, I'm not actually going to start that. And then you can also do it as a homework. So you'll notice we linked it up to our Google Classroom, so you could actually go ahead and assign it into your classes. So I could do the due date, and then assign to the class. And then this is important down here. How many times can students take this quiz? So the neat thing both about Kahoot and Quizizz is you can use them for just simply checks for understanding, and you can also use them as a type of repetition type drill stuff, and they can compete against their last attempts and do all that kind of stuff. So you can either do unlimited, or you can choose to give them a couple chances to actually go and take it more than once. Now, if you do that unlimited or more than once or whatnot, then you would be requiring the students to log in, and then they would need to use their Google account would be the easiest way to do it, which if they're using Google Classroom, then that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Okay, let's see here. Let's play a quiz live. Well, Philip, for time's sake, I'm actually going to keep pushing forward, and then we can do that at the end, but I want to get to everything with the Kahoot. So, yeah, we can take a look at that for sure. All right. I think Philip's competitive edge is on there going on. So we can show the leaderboard. Now, one thing about the leaderboard is that if you do that, be mindful that if kids are, down there in the bottom of the leaderboard, then, and I think it only shows the top 3 or so, but it's not going, you just have to be careful of that. Be mindful of that, because a lot of times that if someone is not doing very well, then they're not necessarily going to put as much energy into it, because they're going to see that they're not doing so well, and just kind of, not put their full self into there. So that's that. And you know what? Okay, we got, how many questions is this? 14 questions. Looks like they're pretty short, most of them. Okay, Philip, we'll take you up on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can pull out a phone. You can open up a browser and go to it. Let me go ahead and I'm going to, it looks like you can do a test here. We can do a team. I'm going to keep it the classic. And then I'm going to give you one chance. Okay, unlimited. So I'm not going to require you to log in. Can only use, okay. So this one is actually a good one to think about, especially if you're just doing like a completion grade or something for this kind of thing. If you don't want them to have the ability to put in funky names, then it really comes down to, classroom management, virtually or not. So you can have, I always recommend having a procedure for your naming. So that would be something to think about. How do you want your kids to name themselves when they are in here? So we could just do funky names, or I think teachers are very competitive, so I found. So, and I'm pretty competitive too. So I'm going to press continue. All right, so you can go to joinmyquiz.com, and I'll go ahead and paste that into, oh wait, what am I saying? Let's see here. Is it going to give me a link? I'm going to put that in the chat. No naughty names. All right, there's a quiz. I'll give some people a minute or so to get in there, and that should take you right in. You'll start seeing people populate. Oh, I like the icon there. All right, so one neat thing about this is that if you do happen to have someone that puts in a name that's inappropriate, you can actually remove them. One kind of cool thing is I was going through the Kahoot certification. I know this is Quizizz, but they had I had to do a Kahoot live and compete, and there was like almost 200 people in the Kahoot doing it with me. So that was kind of cool. All right. Well, we got 14 out of 19. If you still want to join, let's go ahead. 16. So close. All right, let's do it. I'm going to press start. So you're just looking at your screen. You're not looking at mine at all. Mine's just going to have the leaderboard. I will not be offended if you get kind of tired of it and just want to power through it, but you get the idea of what it's doing. Wow. Right here, I can show only the top 5. So that's a neat feature. All right, I think Morgan and Guts are gonna take the lead here. Just a second. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the game. Just for time's sake. I hope y'all noticed that I could keep it regulated down to the top 5, which is really nice. I could also see the overall grade of the class, which was pretty good. It was up there in the mid 80s for a little while. So that was really cool. And so we could play the game again. We could go through reviewing the questions with your class. And so, yeah, that was a really a cool way. Thank you, Mr. Guest, for pressing me to do that. I probably wouldn't do it with a shorter quiz next time because I can get a little long there. But thinking for myself, I would definitely use this as a pre-assessment and maybe even a post-assessment for one of my Google Classroom PDs, just to see where people are at when they come in, and then maybe see where they're at when they leave. So that's a great way, an exit ticket and, take and roll and all that kind of stuff, documentation. So that's neat. Also, another thing is if you have kids that are actually missing the synchronous session, you can still post it in as classwork or homework later on. And then also have the ability to download the results. So if you wanted to do more than a participation grade, you can actually download the results, and it will, you could do grades that way, putting them up into Skyward. Now, one thing to think about when you're doing that is definitely consider the naming conventions. So that was always a struggle, or was a struggle definitely at the beginning when I started using formative assessments online in the classroom myself. And so it got to be where I would actually have them put their period first, then their last name, and then their first name, and try to get that as a standard thing. But the nice thing about this is if you limit the number of times that they can do it, you're going to force them to log into it. And I really think once you get procedures going with that type of stuff, then it'll just come naturally to your students. They'll get trained on it, and then they'll be good to go. Kind of cool. They put some game highlights in here that you could go over with your classroom and all that. So I hope that was enjoyable and gave you a little, yeah, definitely. Thank you, Philip, for pressing me. Always a pleasure having you in here and helping make me better, holding me accountable. So for sure. All right. So that is Quizizz, and we're not going to do Nearpod right now. But again, Nearpod is having PDs every Wednesday. So definitely consider that. So I'm going to go back over here into the presentation, and I was on slide 5. And I'm going to move over to right here to slide 6 and just a little brain break. We've been at it for 30 minutes. And so if you need to get up and stretch, I'll do a little, let's see here, timer. So this is kind of cool, this classroom screen. Oh, my son would love that. He's all into the kitty cats right now. So let's do 2 minutes here, a break if you need to take it. And of course, professionals, you can always take breaks whenever you need to, and then we'll move on in the next part. I found this I found this quote just in the time we are, and I just wanted to add it here. And then over here, this is the link that I found them, the quotes. So I was looking forward just to find something a little aspiring or a little funny. I was trying to, lighten the mood, add some gifts in here, and I couldn't find anything really appropriate with everything we got going on right now that I wanted to put in here. And so just keeping it positive and whatnot. So that just leads to a CNN inspirational quotes and whatnot. So I hope you and your families are doing well. And this classroom screen, this is a really cool app. It's actually, I think, a Swedish man that actually made this, and you can actually use it in your classroom. It's got the timer, a stopwatch. It's got, I won't read all these to you. And then you can do the dice, and the sound level is kind of cool. You do have to give it permission and do some settings. And so, yeah, this would be a cool thing to have in the classroom back when when we were in person and doing it some semblance of blended or normal teaching face to face. And I will actually put this app on a slide here just because I think it's cool enough to add. Does anybody have anything to add while we're kind of in this transition part right here?
Hey, this is Mr. Getz. I got a quick question.
Sure.
I haven't, connected a lot of things to Google Classroom, kind of in the past. I mean, I've extensively used Google Classroom. But I mean, I know that there's some things that, we use as a district, and it's just kind of scary for me to, be on a different website somewhere else, log in with Google, and then I see all of my students' names pop up. Is that something I need to just get over? Because like when I was looking at Quiz just now, I'd been in it before, but hadn't used it a lot, but I just connected it to Google Classroom and created a class, and I saw all my students' names, because I don't want to create things that kind of like start filling my students' email boxes up with, tons of stuff.
Well, I think that's the problem with all the tools. So first off, let's talk about your first question, whether the trusting the Google or not with the Google Classroom and all that. Yes, I'm comfortable with that with Quizizz and Kahoot. I'm comfortable with that with Nearpod, vocabulary, the district tools that we use. Yes. Possibly finding something on the internet that has not been vetted or used extensively. You might, get someone else to take a run at it and take a look at it maybe with you. But yeah, for those I trust. The second part of the question, dang it, I lost my train of thought. What was that second part?
It was just with in my teaching at the high school, I kind of come to the end of the school year, and how many unread emails do you have in your email account?
Oh, notifications. Okay, thank you. Yeah, notifications are definitely something to take a look at. Like, what I would really concentrate on is for notifications is within the Google Classroom. And so I would teach your students how to go into Google Classroom and for teachers also, to be able to go into Classroom and change their notifications. And so that is going to be the same for both teacher and student. If they click on these three little pancakes over here on the top left, and then you scroll down to the bottom, click on settings. This is where you're going to get most of your just emails nonstop. So if I click on, you see I have mine off. If you turn that on, then you can actually delve into here which ones you want to leave on and which ones you can do, go through here and choose all that kind of stuff. And then you can actually choose which classes you want those notifications on. And so to go back over what I just did, here I am in Classroom, top left, click on the pancakes, all the way down, click on the gear wheel, and then choose to either turn them all the way off, or if you want to, have some type of procedure with your students to, hey, I really think it's important that you have these toggled on, so that you can get reminders about, stuff. And same for you, right? Late submissions of student work, et cetera, could be really important for you to get to sooner than later. So yeah, good point. Good point with that. Oh, and not touching our faces has been turned into such an issue now. I'm outside and it's getting a little sweaty here, and I don't want to turn the fan on because it's kind of loud, but I might have to. Okay, so thank you for the question. Definitely a good one. Does anybody else have any questions before I move on? Okay, it's 10:40. Let's get to getting you credit for this. So Kahoot. I would venture to say that the vast majority of us, if not 100% of us, have used Kahoot. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about if you haven't used Kahoot, but it's just been out for a while. It's a really strong tool. They actually have an office here in Austin. The people that you'll watch the videos of, I believe both of them live here in Austin, at least one of them does. So if you click on, I'm on slide 8, you click on the picture, click underneath it, and it'll take you to Kahoot Certified Schools. So this is this navigation can be a little bit tricky. So let me go over it with you. Notice I'm not logged in right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just look through here, and I can just read bronze, silver, gold. Again, we're going to be going for, we got to get done with bronze to get to silver. And then to get to gold, we got to get through silver. And then once we get the gold, then that's what you're actually going to upload into the Google form that I'll show you here in a minute. So if I want to create an account, remember we want to log in with our Google. So I'm going to go ahead and click Get Kahoot Certified, and it's going to bounce me. And just to show y'all again what I clicked on, I'm clicking on this one right here. Get Kahoot Certified. And then I have to do bronze first. And then it's going to have 4 videos to watch. And you're not actually going to log in while you're watching those videos. So let's say Philip is already, you know what, he's got Kahoot down. He's been using it for years. He's like, I don't really feel like I need to watch those videos. So that's really your choice. It's just like our students, right? You get out of it what you put into it. Now, if you can show mastery immediately, then I don't personally have a problem with that. So to do that, to show mastery, you go over here to Get Certified Now on the bottom right. And then I'm going to take the challenge, and then what it's going to say, and this is important, you do want to log into your account for this part. You didn't have to log into it previously, but you do want to log into it for that. So this is a code I'm going to want to enter there. But here's the important thing. You definitely, I'm going to do this, install the Kahoot app. So I'm going to, well, actually, I'll just click that link. So I did this, let's see, Command Shift N, Kahoot.it. So let me tell you what I just did. I'm kind of going a little faster. So let me slow down. So you don't want to do this part in your browser right here, I guess you could, if you go over to and open up a new browser tab and you type in Kahoot.it. And there we are. And then I'm going to bounce back into the course. And whoops, what is that? What is that? This code stays the same. So let's see. I'm going to bam, click on it. Command C. I'm going to go back to my Kahoot.it. Now you could use your phone for this. I actually use my phone. You use your iPad, your Android, whatever you got. And there's the code. I'm going to press enter. And then right here, I have not logged in here. I don't believe I'm logged in. So that's what I want to make sure that we're logged in to do it. So I'm going to back out of this real quick. And that's kind of why I went, was going to do it incognito, just to make it a little bit easier for myself here. So if I go back to Kahoot, and log in. So now I'm logged into my Kahoot. And now I want to be able to play a game. And so the best way I found this to do this was to actually go to Kahoot.it and did it on my phone. So Kahoot.it. And then I enter my name. And you'll notice other people are doing it right now. And then it's going to have a series of questions. You got to get, I think, 80% of them correct, and then it'll actually make you get the rest of them correct. So it'll reinforce the learning of the ones that you didn't get right. And then I just keep going through here. You can see the leaderboard. I'm 70. The quicker you answer, the faster, or excuse me, the more points you're going to get. And then all these questions are, you get the information from the videos that you watched on that other page. So I'm not actually going to do the whole thing because I've done it before and I don't want to give you all the answers. So going back to my Kahoot here. So let me go back over what I did. So I'm on slide 8. I click on Kahoot. I make sure that I'm logged into Kahoot. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to get Kahoot Certified. And it's going to take me to this splash page. I'm going to watch these 4 videos. I can also download their guide. It's just a PDF of basically what was in the videos. And then I press Get Certified Now. And what I recommend is going to your phone and getting the Kahoot app like they're asking you to do. That's what I did. Download the app onto your phone rather than doing it on your browser. And you know what? Honestly, our students are probably going to do this on their phones or their iPads or whatnot. So it's good to always try it out on how they're going to do it. And then make sure you're logged in. It'll give you the option to log in. And then enter that PIN into your phone, into where it asks you to join. And then join it. And then once you actually take the test, or the Kahoot, as it were, then what's going to happen is once you're done with it, you're going to get an email. And in that email, they're going to say, hey, print your diploma. So there it is right there. You just print it by pressing on that little blue button. And then you can tweet it out if you want to. I always recommend using Twitter to increase your personal learning network. And then if you're ready for the next course, then within that email, you just press Start Silver Course. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go through there, follow the steps they ask you to do. And then when you're done with that, you're going to go on to the next one, which is the gold. And then once you're done with the gold, then you're going to go to slide 11. And this is where we're going to document it. You're going to click on this little picture of the form, click underneath it. and this will take you to the Google form. You're going to choose the Learn Quizizz and get Kahoot Basic Certified. And then you're going to add, you only need to add your gold one. You don't need to add your bronze or silver certificates. And then once you're done, you upload that up and then to the form, and then you just press submit. Now, if you did want to upload all of them just for fun, or however you wanted to do it, that's what you wanted to do, then you can either put them in your Google, or you could go in here and choose the files that you want to put into here, and you can actually upload more files, more than one file at a time. And then when you're done, just press upload, and then you don't forget to submit. And that's basically it. And then once or twice a week, I'm going to go through for the next couple of weeks and get everybody that's completed it and give you credit within Eduphoria. So please don't forget to add this presentation to your drive, either by going to File, Add to My Drive, or pressing the Add to My Drive button over here to the right of the star in the folder. Okay, any questions, comments?
This is Mr. Getz again. I've got a quick question.
Sure.
I think I may have signed up for a Kahoot account before I was doing a lot of stuff with, sign in with Google. So when I look at Kahoot, I'm logged in and it says upgrade now, but it does say Manor High School, so that's good. Upgrade to Pro. So how do I know if I'm like?
So two things, Philip. My recommendation is always to use Google. So if you don't have a lot committed to that original Kahoot account, then I would go in and just change it over to the Google, which will just make things easier, I believe, for syncing up to your Google Classroom and all that kind of stuff if you want. Now, Kahoot, you are correct. They are really splashing it out there as far as paying the fees to get. They've upped their game, and they're in direct competition with Nearpod, right? And so they are up in their game. They're adding more bells and whistles. They are curating content and paying different companies, and also I believe probably teachers to create Kahoots for the different content levels, meeting certain criteria, kind of like Nearpod does also. So that is why they keep asking you to upgrade, and you'll get some more bells and whistles if you did happen to upgrade. We as a district are not paying for Kahoot. So this would be something that you would want to either, I never recommend paying for something out of your own pocket, but I know a lot of us do sometimes in the classroom. And I guess, for me, when I was a math teacher for 10 years, when I switched to using more digital tools, I switched from buying so many paper or a lot of things in the classroom. My money started going to other things, digital type stuff. So I ended up paying for vocabulary before we had, vocabulary in the district, that kind of thing. But a lot of times you can get department money to pay for stuff, and you can also petition your content, CNI content coordinator, to see if that might be something they pay, and also your campus to think about too. So we do not have the accounts for we don't pay for the Pro right now at this point. At some point in the future, especially if we continue to do remote learning and that turns into a big part of a bigger part, of us as we go into the fall, then this is definitely something to possibly advocate for and to definitely to take a look at. Because personally, I love Nearpod, and I will, Nearpod is awesome. But it's also nice to have some variety. So, that's always a good thing, I think, in competition. So definitely having multiple tools in your toolbox is a good thing. So, but I got to say that, one thing I learned with Nearpod yesterday, we had a meeting with them, is Nearpod is, for those of y'all that took the Ed puzzle with me, they are actually incorporating an Edpuzzle type feature into Nearpod. It's coming out soon, I believe, hopefully before the fall, where you're going to be able to take a YouTube video. Basically, you're going to be able to do what Edpuzzle does. And Edpuzzle basically allows you to it does allow you to take a video from that you've created on your own screen, say using Screencastify or Loom and screencasting, say a lesson, or you can take existing YouTube video and then you can put interactive things within there. Like you can ask questions, open-ended, multiple choice, all that kind of stuff. And then that would be included in your data within the Nearpod itself. So that's kind of a cool new feature coming out with the Nearpod. But it's not right now. It's not yet. So any other questions? I hope I answered your question satisfactorily there, Philip. Okay.
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So at this point, please make sure that you have the slide deck access to it and you've added it to your drive. Another thing to notice, let's say you didn't do that or you forget to do that. If you're in your Google Drive and you go over to recent, a lot of times you'll be able to go and search for things within here, within the recent on the far left. And another thing to do is something I share in the Google Basics and whatnot, is if you're in your drive and you want to go search for something, so you can actually click on the down arrow and you know that this was a presentation and you know that more than likely it was Brooke that owned this. You can actually go put my name in there and actually I'll do Brooke admin. And then anywhere would be the location, and then, you know, date modified. You could probably do a good guess that I probably made this within the last month. And then you remember, you know what, it had Kahoot in it. And then you would search for it. So that's a good way to search for stuff if you don't happen to add it to your drive. But I will send a follow-up email with the video, the link to the presentation, which is where I get it.